Imagine you're an echidna. You're carrying a soft, fragile egg. The Australian wilderness is full of rocks, sticks, insects, and danger. You look down and think, this is inconvenient. I should grow a pouch. Wouldn't that make life easier? It sounds logical. In fact, that's exactly how many people imagine evolution works. Animals need something. They decide to adapt, and eventually they grow it. But here's the surprise. That's completely backwards. Animals don't choose new body parts. Evolution doesn't think. Nature doesn't plan. So if echidnas didn't decide to grow a pouch, then how did they end up with one? Let's find out. The echidna is one of the strangest mammals on Earth. It has spines like a hedgehog, a long sticky tongue like an anteater, strong digging claws, and despite being a mammal, it lays eggs. Only 5 living mammals do that. They're called monotremes. 4 species are echidnas. The 5th is the platypus. After laying a tiny leathery egg, the mother places it into a temporary pouch. About 10 days later, the baby hatches inside the pouch. That tiny newborn is called a puggle. The pouch protects the helpless baby until it becomes too large. Unlike kangaroos, an echidna's pouch exists mainly during the breeding season. It forms temporarily and later disappears. Already, nature has surprised us. But the real mystery is, how did this unusual pouch evolve? Here's the mistake many people make. They think evolution works like engineering. Problem, think, solution, done. But evolution has no engineer, no designer, no goal. Imagine millions of newborn echidnas. Every one of them is slightly different, not because they chose to be, but because DNA naturally changes from generation to generation. These changes are called genetic mutations. Most mutations have no noticeable effect. Some are harmful, some are neutral. A small number turn out to be useful in a particular environment. Nobody chooses these changes, they simply happen. Nature provides variation first, selection comes afterwards. That's one of the most important ideas in biology. Now imagine an ancient population of echidna ancestors. Not every mother was exactly alike. Some naturally had slightly different skin, muscles, body shape, or reproductive anatomy. If one combination happened to protect an egg or newborn a little better, those mothers were more likely to raise surviving young. And those offspring inherited many of the same genes. Generation after generation, natural selection favored traits that improved survival and reproduction. Notice something important. Nature wasn't trying to invent a pouch. It simply favored whatever happened to work better. Over enormous spans of time, small inherited differences accumulated. Eventually, the temporary pouch became part of the reproductive biology of modern echidnas. That's how evolution usually works. Tiny steps, not giant leaps. Part 4. Evolution doesn't look ahead. Here's another fascinating fact. Evolution cannot see the future. It doesn't know what animals will need tomorrow. Imagine shuffling a huge deck of cards. You don't choose the next card. You simply see what appears. Nature works similarly. Random genetic variation creates possibilities. Natural selection filters them. Helpful traits become more common. Less useful traits often become rarer. It's a process of filtering, not planning. Think of a sculptor. Instead of building with clay, nature slowly removes what doesn't work well enough. Generation after generation, over enormous spans of time, the result can look incredibly well designed, but it wasn't planned. It emerged naturally through selection. Evolution feels like design. When we see wings, eyes, camouflage, or an echidna's pouch, our brains naturally assume someone designed them. After all, they're amazingly useful. But usefulness doesn't mean intention. A key doesn't exist because metal wanted to become a key. It exists because someone designed it. Evolution is different. There is no engineer. Instead, nature continuously tests countless inherited variations. The ones that improve survival tend to become more common. The ones that don't often disappear. That's why living organisms can appear beautifully designed, even though no one planned them. Did echidnas decide to grow a pouch? No, they didn't choose it. They didn't imagine it. They didn't need it into existence. Over countless generations, random genetic variation created differences. Natural selection preserved the combinations that improved survival and reproduction. And eventually, modern echidnas inherited the remarkable temporary pouch we see today. The next time someone says, animals evolved because they wanted to, you'll know the real answer. Evolution doesn't run on wishes. It runs on variation, inheritance, and natural selection over millions of years. And that's what makes it one of the most fascinating processes in all of biology.